Content warning. Content warning. Child sexual abuse, incest, disability exploitation. They will all be covered in this clip. This is about an 11-year-old child, cognitively challenged and an amputee. She was impregnated by a family member. Let that sink in. This is not a story. This is not drama. This is rape, exploitation, and systemic failure. Did you know that children with disability are disproportionately targeted for abuse because predators believe they won't be believed, protected, or defended? When the abused is a family member, silence is often enforced through fear, shame, and misplaced loyalty. This video is not meant to shock. It's meant to wake us up. We must stop minimizing abuse. We must stop protecting bloodlines over babies. And we must stop blaming children for crimes committed against them. If you're uncomfortable, stay uncomfortable and then do something. If you're someone you know is experiencing abuse, please reach out to local child protection services, a trusted person, immediately. I'm glad you're here. Let's heal together. Welcome back. I'm glad you're here. Let's heal together. Listen to this, and I'll be back.
For those who don't know, Terrell was born to 11-year-old special needs mother who was molested by a 26-year-old man.
Yeah.
But it just so happened, like, to make this story even crazier is that guy was a part of your family too.
Yeah.
Kind of talk about this story.
My mom was 11 years old when she had me. She was 11 years old, special needs, one leg amputated at birth. She was the baby that every family, not every family, but that was the special needs kid that the family was taking care of. Mm-hmm. And my father was 26. He was from the same family through marriage, but it was he was molesting her, and didn't think that she could get pregnant. So I was that. She was 9 months pregnant when they found out she was pregnant because they thought it was like a tumor throughout her medication and everything she had. Wow. She was always gaining weight, so they didn't know. And then, during that time, things were a little bit different. So when they found out she was pregnant, it was already too late. I was already here.
Yeah.
So for me to come out and then you're this child who they don't want to really say who the father is. Yeah. I mean, people were so surprised that the 11-year-old girl had the baby.
So you knew that she was your mother, though? Absolutely.
Okay. But the 11-year-old special needs one-leg girl had this baby. I think the whole neighborhood was more surprised that happened, So then they stopped to think, wait, who's the father? But I started looking more and more like him.
Yeah.
So it was obvious.
You knew him like growing up?
Well, by the time I was 5 years old, the family kind of made this huge split, and my grandfather passed away, which you'll find out in the book when you read it. But I knew who he was. I knew, the whole thing. I remember being 5 years old and my mother and I, we were like kids. And I didn't know at that time she was special needs and everything. And when I was 5 years old, her and I had an argument about a coloring book and some crayons. And something she said and the way she pronounced the words, I remember being 5 years old and I was like, you know what? I'm smarter than she is. At that time, that's what and I was like, I gotta be nice to her. I could tell that I had already surpassed her,
Absolutely.
At that point in my life when I was 5. And she was, 20, 15, 16, 17, whatever she was.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was just, I did an interview and a lady asked me, she said, well, with a mother like, being special needs and what you went through, how do you still have the motivation to, when you were younger to continue to go on? I said, well, first of all, if those are the chips that I was dealt, the cards that I was dealt in the beginning. That's one thing. But if this is the man that I get to choose, I get to live the life and figure it all out as, with all of these things, I'm grateful for that. But my surprise was more that I was nothing like the rest of the family. My family was, and a lot of them, most of them are gone. It's like I have one or two family members left, but my immediate family and even some extended were whatever the most derogatory thought that you ever have about a black family, that was these people. And I grew up with them, so, and I can say that. because it's a part of my story, you know.
So
And you see here where Terrell Carter says his mom was 11 years old. She was special needs and she was an amputee. Not only was she a minor in age, she was a minor in mind as well, because he said that when he was 5 years old, he and his mom were arguing over coloring book and crayon. And he could tell by the words she was using and the way she was acting that even at 5 years old, he was able to realize that he was more from a cognitive standpoint and physical too, but from a cognitive standpoint, he was more advanced than she was. And now this is his mother. And listen, and he said something that was very profound, very profound. He said he couldn't control the chip that was dealt to him. The fact that his mama was special need, taken advantage of. The man was 26 years old, a family member. Not surprised there at all. A family member. And he didn't say this, so it probably didn't happen. There was no accountability. As a matter of fact, he was saying everybody was so busy trying to figure out who the father was because they were so surprised that the 11-year-old girl was actually pregnant. Till when she started growing, they probably didn't even take her to the doctor because they were so surprised. But look at the results, him. So out of all this mess and chaos, he was able to be in the world. And from what I can see, this is my first time hearing him actually, when I saw this clip. But it seems like when I did some research, he has done some great things. And listen to what he said about his family. He said the most derogatory, just the most worst words you can think of that can be used, adjectives that can be used to describe people. He said a black family. He said that was his family. Now y'all, that's one of those generational things. Some people call it a generational curse. Some people call it a generational cycle, generational pattern, whatever you call it, that's generational. Notice what he said? He didn't say one or two. He said all of them. Whatever derogatory words and stuff. This is why we got to stop this foolishness. We got to stop this foolishness about the myth of morals in the black community. The myth of morals in the black community mentality is what caused his mama to be violated. But now Tyler Perry's at fault, right? This is Tyler Perry's fault, right? When are we going to deal with issues and stop blaming? That's too many of us, not all of us now. Because there's some of us who deal with these issues head on and always have, even when I was a child. And I'm sure my mama was a child. There have always been people who dealt with these issues straight on. But too many of us, way too many of us, we want to hide and pretend and we want to blame. And I don't know if he said bad girl. That was a word he said. I couldn't figure it out. He said that they were surprised that a pregnant, and I think he said bad girl, pregnant 11-year-old bad girl was pregnant. I don't know if he actually used that word. Like I said, that was one word that I couldn't figure out. But I would be surprised if that was the word he used. Because that's tend to be what happens. No matter the age of the girl, somehow she get blamed. So here you have a special need. It's bad regardless. Now, I'm not diminishing anything that has happened to anybody. But here you have a special need. Cognitively, she's 5 years or below. She's an amputee. And she still wasn't safe from that. Oof. It pains me to think this, but he probably wasn't the only one. He probably wasn't the only one. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. Let's hear together. Now, that's Terrell Carter. And now this is what it says about Terrell Carter on this website called imdb.com. It says, referring to Terrell Carter, born and raised in Buffalo, New York, Terrell Carter has become a major rising force in entertainment as an actor, singer, songwriter. According to this site, he starred in critically acclaimed and very popular Fox drama series Empire. By the way, that's a Tyler Perry movie. And this is, which kind of bridged me into what I was saying earlier about Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry tended to get blamed for different things that go on in our community, evidently, or they'll say he's bringing shame to the community. But I'm almost sure Tyler Perry did not know Terrell Carter's mama. I'm pretty sure he didn't know Terrell Carter's family. So he had nothing to do with what happened to Terrell Carter's mama. But for some reason, as black people, many of us want to hold on to this myth of morals in the black community, which is why we don't get any healing in the black community, because we're so busy wanting to hold on to these myths of morals. And it's so interesting to me. And that's a whole nother podcast though, about the different things that we don't seem to mind being said about the black community that are definitely detrimental from my way of thinking. But we have a problem when Tyler Perry, every movie that I've seen of Tyler Perry's, every play, every TV series, these are things that actively go on in the black community. I haven't seen not one movie Tyler Perry has done that didn't actually show what's going on in the black community. And until we're willing to confront these issues, we'll never be able to heal. It just doesn't happen like that. Why do you suppose we react this way to Tyler Perry and to anybody else, as a matter of fact, who actually want to talk about the issues and try to deal with issues in the black community? Why do you think we're like that, black people? And this is not a rhetorical question. I'd like some feedback. Why do you think that? Why do you think we are so bent on holding on to this myth of Mars? Haven't enough generations been destroyed? Haven't enough generations been destroyed? It's time for us to come beneath the crust and deal with these issues. That's the only way we're going to heal. Dealing with these issues. And that's what this podcast, this channel is all about. Healing together. I'm so glad you're here. Heal Thyself with Lily Bell is public now, but it's going to become private after a while, because I want us to be able to feel safe in talking about what we need to talk about, dealing with what we need to deal with. Click the link, the Stand Store link in the description, to take you to get a free outline of Heal Thyself with Lily Bell. Heal Thyself with Lily Bell. Black community, you refuse to heal, and you blamed Tyler Perry for everything. Why did you do it? I'm so glad you're here. Let's heal together. Be encouraged.